as you reflect on 50 years of women's ordination to the priesthood in the Episcopal Church, what does that mean to you?
It means a number of things. One is, and I'm so excited about this, that there are whole generations of women, and men too, who have never known the church without women priests. I mean, how cool is that? I first felt a call to priesthood when I was really young. I was a little girl. I mean, I was 4 and 5 years old. And of course, had never seen a woman priest, because this was in the 1950s. Never saw a woman priest, but had that sense of call. Didn't get to see a woman priest until I was in seminary. And the ordination of women was approved by the Episcopal Church while I was in seminary. So I think it is awesome and wonderful for the whole church that that's the experience of younger generations. It's a gift, it's a blessing to the church. It means that women get to have the blessing, the privilege, the joy of being part of a long legacy and tradition that goes right back to Jesus, a 2,000-year legacy of leadership in the church, of pastoral leadership, of prophetic leadership, of leadership of all kinds. And of course, that history of leadership in the church until 50 years ago was predominantly men. It was dominated by men, with remarkable women whom we know about in history, and lots of women whose names that we'll never know, who were also part of that. But within the last 50 years, the women who are part of the leadership are known. They have names, their stories are being told and shared. So being a part of that legacy, that tradition, that history is a gift to the women who are sharing it, and I believe a gift to the entire church. I've witnessed that it's a gift to the entire church, because it's a fulfillment of a dream, of a vision that the early church had, a vision that St. Paul articulated in his letter to the Galatians in chapter 3:28, where he said, "There is no longer slave nor free, no longer Jew or Greek, no longer male and female, because all of you are one in Christ." So we're part now of witnessing a fulfillment of that. For me as a bishop, one of the greatest joys has been supporting people in the ordination process and walking with them, men and women, young and not so young. One of the things that I hear over and over again, especially from younger people, is that they had no idea what this journey was like. They had no idea of the sacrifices that were made by the pioneering women and the first generation of women in priesthood. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because those pioneers didn't do it in order to have their names remembered forever. I'm glad we do remember their names and are honoring them this year. But that's not why they did it. I think when you're a pioneer, the idea of people in the future taking for granted what you worked so hard for is not a bad thing. And at the same time, it's tender and tenuous. It's not a given that we in our society and in cultures are going to continue to honor women and raise up women the way we do now. There's always those forces that are trying to pull it back. And so it's important for us to know that past history, and in order to read what's happening in the world today, so that we can be very vigilant about protecting and honoring the ministry of all persons.